Welcome to Tita Talks. My name is Sonia Tita and I'm your host. It is a great privilege and pleasure to welcome Dr. Lobsang Tenzin Negi. Dr. Negi is a professor of pedagogy, the executive director of the Center for Contemplative Science and Compassion-Based Ethics at Emory University, as well as the founder and spiritual director of the Lobsang Monastery in Atlanta, Georgia. Over the past 2 decades, Dr. Negi has been a pioneer of compassion training programs for adults and children. He was born in Kannur in northern India near Tibet, which is known as the land of apples and gods because of its natural beauty. Dr. Negi is a former monk who began his monastic training at the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics in Dharamsala and continued his education at the Lobsang Monastery in South India, where in 1994 he received the Geshe Larampa degree. In 1999, he completed his PhD at Emory University. And today, we're talking about the healing power of compassion, a self-care tool for you. Welcome to Tita Talks, Dr. Negi. Lobsang.
Thank you for having me. It's so nice to see you, Tita, after so many years.
Thank you for being here. We're currently experiencing the greatest global transformation of our lifetime. This grand transformation permeates the well-being of every aspect of humankind. Wellness and self-care is at the forefront of this paradigm shift. And in 2020, the global pandemic created a seismic shift in life as we know it. More people understand now the overall health and well-being benefits of compassion, gratitude, generosity, forgiveness, kindness, and so forth. How can compassion for oneself actually improve the collective we as a community?
Yeah, no, wonderful question. Again, psychologist and the author, Dr. Daniel Goleman, that whose work you are well familiar with. He has written a very kind of thin book with Peter Senge from MIT. It's called Triple Focus, and the new approach to education, in which triple focus has to do with inner focus, other focus, and outer focus. Focus meaning our attention. So bringing attention to our own personal lives, our own feelings, emotions, sensations, our reactions, and so forth. Is a way to have that self-awareness. Thereby, we can regulate and manage our emotions so that we are, more resilient, more function better.
Yes.
And self kind of care is an important part, that if we do care for our needs, our, emotional issues, struggles, and so forth, in ways that if we manage our emotion, this is part of a self-care, that if we don't pay attention to our emotional needs and our emotional, experiences and like that, as I was saying earlier, that in today's world, like that very fast-paced, very complex world we live today with so many uncertainties and like that, it's very easy for us to emotionally, become very, very distressed. So therefore, paying attention to our emotional life, emotional health is so important. This is part of the self-care. Part of this, in self-care has to do with self-compassion. That has to do with, as human beings, that we are not superhumans. There's no Superman or the woman. We are humans, and our human condition is such that we are, vulnerable to many of the kind of the changes that happen in our lives in around us. And also we have certain limitations as human beings, like that. So therefore, when things go wrong in our lives, when we encounter certain adversity, whether it is a loss or our own certain personal mistakes or failures and like that, or when we feel that we are not quite doing well as we want, a certain sense of inadequacies and like that. This kind of feel, in these situations, many of the people who are high achievers, who are really uh, who are not just type A, so to say, people who really want to succeed, to excel, do well. It's often very difficult when we face such adversities or the failures or the shortcomings in life, and then end up kind of judging ourselves very harshly with self-blame and self-criticism, and in such ways that we do a huge disservice to ourselves. So therefore, self-compassion has to do with how to put our ups and downs in a broader perspective, so that we have a way to accept certain human vulnerability, human condition, in a broader context like that of shared human reality, that we are not alone in making some mistakes now and then, failing in certain tasks. Who does not? Everyone, does fall short now and then. So that sense of kind of shared, human, experience and the reality can help us put our own ups and downs in perspective, so that we are not, kind of tormented, adversely by such adversities in our life. And that's what that I think I heard you speak about how tragedies can be such a catalyst for our growth and the meaning in life. This is precisely, I think, that the self-compassion, it's not only about self-care, taking care of ourselves. If we don't take care of ourselves, we will not be in the position to care for others around us. So that's why the two other focus that Dr. Goldman talks about, that has to do with empathy and compassion, that as we are aware of our own emotional life, our own, and then to manage it in certain ways, that we will have better bandwidth, mental bandwidth or the emotional bandwidth, to be there for others and to notice and respond to. And when these challenges, whether ourselves or others, encounter, then we have this outer focus, that the systems kind of thinking, putting those events or the incidents in a broader perspective, so that we are not narrow in our, kind of reaction to those events, but rather bring this broader perspective, so that we can have a way to address those issues without kind of, judging harshly to ourselves or others.
Yes, completely. Lobsang, what formed your mission and vision to create a compassionate and ethical world for all?
As I mentioned, our work at the Center for Contemplative Science and Compassion-Based Ethics at Emory University, it really is inspired and guided by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So, as you know, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is one of the world, leaders today, that whose life work has been so single-pointedly focused on the well-being of this world, of all beings, regardless of, what backgrounds we come from, the nationalities, religions, the racial backgrounds, or our, sexual orientations, and so forth and so on. As a human being, he talks about the oneness of humanity, that oneness of humanity. And in that, the compassion is what he has focused, and we draw this inspiration from His Holiness. And as I mentioned, that for him to promoting compassion is about not to just be becoming a pious person, kind of sitting, like a saint, not like that. Compassion is all about how we treat ourselves and others. That if we have a certain sense of meaningful connection, warm-hearted, tender connection with others as we can expand, we will treat them, we will feel about them differently. We will have that, that warm feeling will lead us to not only for our own kind of sense of security, emotional well-being, and so forth, but we will relate to and respond to the needs of others differently. What we need today, with this tremendous progress we have made in the material world, we need this kind of spiritual revolution, what His Holiness the Dalai Lama, calls in the Ethics for a New Millennium, he wrote in 1999, is precisely about the basic human values. These are the bedrocks of all the religions and those who have no religion. And this is what inspired us, and we actually are really fortunate to have this platform at Emory University, a university whose founding vision was also for education to it's about educating both intellect and character. How about there's this vision, educating both character and intellect. And when His Holiness the Dalai Lama talks about educating the heart and mind, and this shared vision is what brought Emory and His Holiness together, where His Holiness serves as the Presidential Distinguished Professor. We have really, our work at the center has benefited tremendously from this shared vision of Emory and His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Thank you for joining us on Tita Talks. Thank you for discussing the healing power of compassion, a self-care tool for you. And for more information, please go to www.wellnessworldusa.com, www.titatalks.com, and follow us on Instagram at Wellness World USA, at Tita Talks Official, at We Love Tita Talks, and at Sonia Tita Popolo. And for more information about Dr. Lobsang Tenzin Negi's work, then please see as follows: www.driping.org, www.compassion.emory.edu, www.clearning.emory.edu, and www.compassionshift.emory.edu.